treat adolescents for both ED and mental health, only at the outpatient level. So, and if you have any questions, please feel free. We also have a on-site tour tomorrow. It's from 9 to 1. It's a chunk of time, but if you're not doing anything and you want to come join us, there's a little flyer right there on the table. So,
I recommend it. It's a good day.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, come on, that's weird.
I'm Erin Ross. I'm the Business Development Manager for Evolve. I live in Northern California, which is why we're opening out there. We've already got the house. We just need to get licensed. I wish you guys could all fly out there and come to the big bash party that we're going to hold in the summer after we get licensed. But hey, the invitation will be there. Thank you.
All right, well, without further ado, Dr. Dustin Weissman practices individual and group psychotherapy in Westlake Village and Westwood under the supervision of Dr. Michael Pearser. Dr. Weissman is also the owner of a local in-home tutoring company, Conejo Valley Tutoring. He has a wide array of education and experience working with the mental health community. Last year, he published his dissertation titled Impacts of Playing Massively Multiplayer Online Role-Playing Games, MMORPGs, on individuals' subjective sense of feeling connected with others. It has also been downloaded globally from 15 countries on 5 continents. Dr. Weissman has been featured in numerous articles and podcasts, including as an expert on screen time in an online article by Rodale's Organic Life, and as an expert in internet addiction in a cover story by the BC Reporter. He was referenced in a recently published book that drew from his research titled Video Game Addiction. Dr. Weissman has given numerous workshops on a variety of topics ranging from anxiety to balancing school and life to internet addiction related themes. Dr. Weissman holds a board position in the Ventura County Psychological Association as the listserv and website administrator. So, round of applause.
All right, so this is one person's thought of what heaven might look like. You haven't had a chance to look at it yet. So most of the new arrivals seem incapable of conversation. They just stare at their hands in despair. Something's missing here. So I'm hoping this isn't us, and I'm hoping this is definitely not our kids in the future, that we're not all so stuck in this position that we forget to look up. So today's topic is when to unplug. We're going to look at mental health and internet usage. And things I would like to cover today are a little intro on myself and looking at my dissertation. The time that we spend online, looking at smartphone use as well as the social media use, specifically within that. We have like online gaming that really, that's where my main research draws from. So the origin of it, I'm going to flash forward real fast to present day and what we can expect with our current teens, which is really good that a lot of you guys work in adolescent treatment centers because this is going to be really relevant to your clients. We'll look at some insight on gameplay, motivations, types of gameplay, social relations, and how the players are rewarded to keep them hooked. Some risk factors, we'll look at a little bit of internet addiction, how people are affected in real life, how to help them, which is probably the main reason you guys are here, and we look at how you can recognize signs of recovery, as well as some recommended readings, and a little bit about some tech use groups. I can make this available to you guys if you want. Just email me. I know it's a lot. I'm going to try to cram it all in. So we shall start. So 12 years ago, I took this photo. Actually, I didn't take it. I had somebody else take it. Not a selfie. Pre-iPhone. This is in the last year before the iPhone existed. And another person actually had to stay like right there and point and click. So not a camera phone, not a smartphone, an actual handheld camera. So this is a prehistoric picture. So then I went on, graduated from UCSB, graduated a couple more times, and what did I learn in all of those years of education? Well, of course, how to take the perfect selfie. Gotta get the angle and the lighting right. But really, this is a lot of what I learned, was my dissertation, which Sarah kindly read very well, actually. It's a long title. That I just published last year. So here's the nuts and bolts of that dissertation, what I found with my research. the average gamer, as of a few years ago, is playing about 26.6 hours per week. There's a whole bunch of articles that will have different area, it's gonna, whoever you're drawing from, it's gonna be different. Sometimes it'll be 29, sometimes it'll be 22. It's gonna fluctuate. It also depends on who you pool. My dissertation looked at ages 18 and up. So we had as old as, I think, 64, 66 years old. Most of them were in the late 20s on average. So if they are a student, their score on the video game addiction test goes up by 6.4. So they're already at a higher risk for video game addiction just because they're a student. Additionally, age is a factor. So each additional year results in a drop in their video game addiction test score by 0.26. So every year you get older, the less likely you are to have this internet addiction. Therefore, when we compare the participants playing the same number of hours, young students yielded the highest scores of video game addicts. So the younger students compared to the older students are a lot more likely. You'll probably see this in middle school and high school compared to a college student. But more likely you'd see it with a younger college student compared to an older college student. So somebody who's 40 going back to college versus somebody who's 19 out of high school or 18 out of high school. And then players who reported valuing the squad component of the game became more lonely or lonelier as the game went on, or as they played more hours. So if they really valued that camaraderie in being part of a team online, they were much more at risk to become lonely. And this was found using the UCLA loneliness scale. So that was like the major finding. If somebody went onto a game and they didn't care about the social component, that they had to be involved in the team because maybe they're being fulfilled other places in their life, then they weren't as high at risk. And that was a surprising finding. I thought that a lot more people, as they played more, they would feel more connected, but then be more isolated. So the only ones that really felt lonely were the ones who had this strong urge to fulfill that need, which is actually a lot of kids. So, unplugging a mobile device. What happens when you unplug your mobile device? Anybody?
Well, it depends on my 17-year-old
If it has a charge,
goddaughter.
if it has a charge on, you take out the cord. What happens?
Light goes on.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing happens. It has a battery. It's
Yeah.
mobile. You can take it with you to the store. You can take it with you to school. You can take it with you anywhere. So we can't just unplug anymore. So I'm actually going to change today's title. Instead of when to unplug, we're going to switch it to when to disconnect. Because you have to disconnect from your mobile device. You can't just unplug it. Mine's sitting right here in my pocket. It's on. I would know if something happens. It's not separated from the rest of the world. But if you leave it at home, you leave it in your car, something like that, or if a kid leaves it at home, leaves it in your car, then they won't have it. They won't have that constant part of their brain that's looking for it. Think about your Wi-Fi signal. When it's looking for a signal, it's constantly roaming, it's draining the battery. That's what happens with kids and adults. If you don't have it on you, there's a little bit of anxiety. You're looking for it, you're wondering, and it may not be at that conscious level. This is probably a subconscious level where some part of you is wondering, where's my phone? Or did I get a comment on that post? Or do I have a new email? So, how are we spending time online? Well, number one, smartphones. We're doing a lot of social media, a lot of emails, a lot of instant messages. That's the primary time spent online. For gamers, they're gaming online. They may also game on a console or their computer, but I think there's been a huge shift towards mobile gaming. You still have a lot of adolescents and young adults playing games like League of Legends and World of Warcraft or Lineage. And then there's also the Halos and the Call of Duty and so forth. Video streaming. So a lot of YouTube, Netflix, we can do this on our TVs at home, we can do it on our phones or tablets. Very dangerous if you have it in the bedroom and you're trying to get some sleep, because YouTube and Netflix are fantastic at, well, you don't even have to press a button, we'll do it for you.
Yeah.
We're going to put your next episode on, or you like that video, we're going to show you this one because you're going to like it too. And oh, while you're watching this, let me show you a quick little ad. Okay, here's your video again. Oh, you like that one? Here's another one. It's an endless stream. If you're noticing this, all the technologies, the social medias, the online streaming, it's all based on this never-ending stream of information. It's a rabbit hole. And with MMORPGs, the world never stops. If you exit, there is no save and quit option like there used to be on video game consoles. Now it's just quit, and the world goes on. You're missing it until you come back. And then online pornography and online gambling. Those are other areas where you can see a lot of internet addiction. Online gambling, a lot of poker rooms that you'll see, especially in college. Even with the apps where you can buy purchases, you're going to be gambling. Mark Griffin's just published an article on when you get like the treasure chest or something that you can purchase, it's a form of gambling because you might get this super rare item or you might not. But you're going to keep buying into it more and more, hoping for it, because it's variable ratio. If you're familiar with variable ratio, that's how the slot machines work. If they're every once in a while, you'll get that big payout. And then the pornography, a lot of people get sucked into it. It's just this endless stream. I mean, it's been there for a long time, and again, there's an infinite possibilities of types of pornography and ways to access it, sites to access it, and it's just, there is, once you get into it, there's no stopping until you decide that you want to stop. Hopefully there's nobody wising up to do a Netflix or a YouTube of pornography, but I think there actually might be one. I think where if you like that one, you might like this one now, which can keep you sucked into it. Another thing with the pornography is it's really devaluing what sex is for people. It's this fake world that if adolescents are watching it, they don't know how to interact with one another, but they see this, oh, that was easy. He said hi, he brought a pizza, and now they're naked and having sex. I can do that. So it's really misinforming our younger generation, and as well as young adults and adults that just think that this is how it works. Okay, so I want to look at social media and how people are spending time on it. Specifically girls and boys. Girls are a lot more likely to do things that are visually oriented, a lot more pictures and stories. So you'll see them on Instagram, Snapchat, other online platforms like Pinterest and Tumblr. So here's the percentages. Tumblr is, I'm actually not on Tumblr.
Does anybody know what
I think
Tumblr
it's another
is?
picture story.
Yeah.
You can post different,
Blog,
you can
Tumblr.
post, yeah, it's like a blog with pictures,
Ah.
kind of like a newer version of MySpace. But it doesn't have to be you. You can be posting things that you like. So the boys are still on these. It's just the higher percentages than the girls. I mean, you still have 44% of boys are on Instagram, 61% of females are on Instagram. But a lot of the boys are drawn to the games. So 91% of boys have access to game consoles. That's consoles. That's like an Xbox, a PlayStation, a Wii. But their phones, a lot higher percentage have access to this on their phones. And then 71% or 70% of girls. And then for playing video games on their phone, 84% of boys and 59% of females.
Is this your specialty? Is this what you want to do in your practice? Like, these are the types of referrals you want to have?
Yeah, so
Okay.
clients that struggle with any form of internet addiction from the first page, be it the pornography, the gambling, the social media, screen time, or parents. Parents need a lot of guidance on this. So anybody who's involved with somebody, it could be the whole family. Antioch University, it's family systems orientation. That's what my education was based in.
I know this is like side bus question, but there's a place called a counseling center in Northern Cal. I don't know if they have it out here. It's called Baca,
I'm not familiar.
and they do. It's Bay Area. It must be only the Bay Area. Bay Area Children's Clinical Services. They have a Minecraft room. So I thought that was very interesting because my 9-year-old granddaughter is completely addicted to Minecraft. So when they were touring me at their centers, they're kind of like a counseling center, a psychiatry counseling center, but they have all these different groups. But I should have delved in more about why they think, because it's a whole therapy group around Minecraft. It's a room, it has like 8 or 9 computers, and they all just do Minecraft. That seems odd to me.
Yeah, it's meeting them at their
So-
level. And Minecraft actually it's 2 different games in one. There's the architecture side of it,
Mhm.
where you get really good visual spatial abilities, which will boost your score in the Waze or Whisk. And then there's the gameplay, the storyline, and you're gonna be running around and hitting things with a hammer
Like
or whatever it is
Sims.
you're doing.
It's
Like any RPG game where you're running around collecting things.
I was
or
just
finding
curious
things.
if they thought that maybe it was the kids are being creative because they're building these.
They
you know,
can be. It depends
architecturally-
which model you're doing,
Hmm.
because some schools do use Minecraft.
Okay.
And
Yeah,
one thing I want to
that's fine.
emphasize that you can't get rid of the internet. You can't keep it from the kids. It's all about learning the balance and using it in moderation. So if you're going to be doing Minecraft to build your visual spatial skills, do it like you would any other exercise, 30 minutes to an hour, something along those lines. If you're going over an hour playing Minecraft, you're playing, you're not learning.
My whole thought was, wow, what a good marketing tool for them to send people here, get people to come. I want to go
Good
there.
marketing for the kids, probably.
Yeah.
But the parents might not know better,
Yeah.
because the parents look to the treatment facilities for, oh, you're the experts, you know what to provide. If you say that this is what they should have, then this is what they should have. Or they'll be questioning, wait, so I've been okay letting my kids play Minecraft until 2 a.m.? Yeah. I haven't played extensive Minecraft. I haven't really actually played. I've seen
I'm
it.
actually going to find out, and then I'm going to email you and tell you what they said.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, they probably do use it for some.
mm-hmm.
You're being on the
It
level.
must be for some.
Yeah.
I
A
don't
lot of this stuff is what's underneath. What's going on underneath that people are spending so much time escaping their realities. And we'll
I
get
have
into
to
that
limit
later.
my granddaughter. Like when she comes over on the weekends, I have to cut off the computer or the games at like 8 o'clock and take breaks, during the time and do something else because when she goes to sleep, she's twisting and turning and moving around and she can't really settle down for at least an hour and a half
Yeah.
after she's finished with these games. And it's just Minecraft.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Well, I can get into the whole neuro aspect of that your brain waves are being altered by these. So it's really harder for you to get to those theta waves that really get you to relax the deep sleep. The theta and delta waves are harder to access after you've been staring at a screen that's just pumping the visual stimuli into you. So, yeah, it's a good idea to have no screen an hour before bed. Especially if you have trouble sleeping. If you don't have trouble sleeping, then maybe your brain's adjusted and you're not doing as much. Teens phone and computer console use. So this is just a little breakdown, but I think I have one highlighted right here. Yeah, smartphone. So 73% of all teens in America that were found, and this is all the Pew Research Center that found this, 73% have access to a cell phone or smartphone. I imagine this number is now higher. It's probably closer to 90% today. 91% of teens use internet on a mobile device. So that's where there's a little conflict in research, that one's saying that they have access, but 91% of all teens are using it. So it's just a matter of what's more modern. Because some of the research goes back to 2014, and some of it's up to 2016, maybe a little bit 2017. So 91% of boys, 92% of girls have access to a mobile device. And the reason this might be higher is because the tablets are on there, and a lot of laptops as well are mobile devices that have access to the internet. The other one's looking at smartphones. The schools now, a lot of them hand out computers. And one thing I found out recently, for if you have kids that get the computers from schools, they're not safe, they're not protected when they're not on the school Wi-Fi. So all of the protections that they have, that they talk about, that's when you're on school's Wi-Fi. When you're at home, you need to put that on your own Wi-Fi, your own router. Otherwise, they're not protected. The restrictions, so like they could go and find porn, they can go and gamble, they can use computers like any other computer. It's the Wi-Fi, at least in the Las Virgen School District, that is keeping them safe. 89% of ages 13 to 14 and 93% of ages 15 to 17 have access to that. Now, this is a huge statistic. The frequency of internet use by teens. 24% are almost constantly on it. So 1 out of every 4 teens is this. Constantly on their phone. They might be in class, but they have it down here. Or they're at home. Well, you can probably see it more at home. That's a huge number. And then, the other, two-thirds of them are on it several times a day, if not almost constantly. So half of teens are also on it several times a day. And then you get a few of the ones that might not have it, or once a day, once a week. But I'd say, I mean, it looks like about 80% or so of teens are on it, probably at some point during the day, but 1 in 4 constantly. So that is really affecting their neurodevelopment, and something that we need to change and address. How are they using their social media? Well, 52% of American teens use Instagram, 44% of boys, and 61% of girls. A typical Instagram teen has 150 followers. That's the typical one. Do you think that the teens know 150 people well? No. They might be friends from school, but they could also be that guy Tom who lives in apartment 2B over there, and it could be Susie who's a cat lady down the street, or some random predator. You have no idea who they are. And that's something that we need to be aware of, because we don't know who has access to the younger generation, what they're posting on there. A lot of times you see that poster, especially high school boys and girls, it can be very provocative and very inappropriate. And then you can even see here 18% have over 300 followers.
I don't know if you're gonna get into this later, but I'm wondering if there's any research on teens using like dating apps, like things like Bumble and Tinder and things like that, if that's become a problem, because obviously that's bringing a whole nother list of predators into their smartphones.
Yeah, that I don't know.
Be interesting.
That's a good thing. I do have a funny thing about dating apps later, but it's not about that.
Okay.
41% of American teens use Snapchat. That number's probably gone up too. That's the one that's been growing most recently. There's a few other ones that have come up, like TBH, and I don't know. It's hard to keep up. 31% of boys and 51% of girls are using them, and 33% of American teens are using Twitter. 30% boys and 37% of girls. And lastly, Facebook. For us old people, that's what they'll tell you. You guys are ancient if you're on Facebook. Like, well, yeah, I'm one of the first people ever on Facebook, so of course I'm ancient. 71% of American teens, they have it. They all have accounts for Facebook. They just don't use it as much as the other apps. 72% boys, 70% girls. And there's a little breakdown here of how much they're using it most often. I don't know. I have more research coming up that kind of conflicts with this. Sandra?
Yeah, I was just wondering, obviously, like, the parents' usage of their mobile devices affects the child, and
Very
like,
much
I'll go
so.
out to dinner, and like, the whole family will be on their phones.
Yeah.
And so, I think that's an important thing to consider in this research, is like, how much, like, we're on our phones.
Yeah, that's huge. Because it's social learning theory. They're going to observe their parents, and that's how they're going to learn how to behave. So if you have a kid under 10 that doesn't have a smartphone yet, but the parent is on their phone all the time, what do you think that kid's going to do once they get their smartphone? They're going to be on it all the time, because that's what you do when you get a smartphone. There's also the constant connection with peers. They have to feel connected. You might miss something if they're not in there.
So how do you get, I mean, I'm sure if you're working with teens on this, you're working with the families. How would you get the families to like unplug and disconnect?
That's, well, I get into that later.
Okay,
That
cool.
we'll get into.
Thanks.
So here's a good research. It's hard to see because of the colors, but in between these two blue lines, there's a yellow line, and you can see. So Snapchat, as of 2016, was 72%, or 72% of youth 12 to 24 were using it. So that grew huge. So I can't really see that. So 2014 is about here, 2015 was about here, and then 2016. So this is the main growing one. And as this one grows, the younger generation wants their own. So something else is going to come up. Some new app's going to be created, and they're going to be on it. Another thing I need to mention here is that most adolescents have a fake profile for their parents to see. So I'm giving a speak next month to a whole bunch of high school students, and I'm going to ask them to show their hands. I'm afraid because they might get an idea like, oh, I don't have one, I should create one. But I'm still curious of how many teens are creating fake profiles. the ones that their parents will go on their phones, they'll follow, and they'll see what they're posting, and it looks all good. And then the ones that they use real, the real stuff that they be posting, the things that you're like, really, you posted that?
Yep.
Facebook has actually been declining. So in 2004, it's gone down every year. It's still 68%, but you can see that one's tapering off because, like I said, us old people are using it, so they don't want to be on that app. Instagram has been going up. It's the same progression as Snapchat, just not as much. And Twitter's been about the same. In 2015, actually had a little drop. You can't really see it
What
there.
is Kik?
Kik, that's a messaging app. You can do video chat, you can be in group chats. It's one thing about Kik, it's kind of like Snapchat, that when you send something, it goes away if you log out. So it's really good for people to hide their conversations. Yeah, that's why it's gone up. Let's see how it is now. Oh, yeah, so it's just newer. They just didn't have any data on it, but 29% of the youth are using it because it's a safe one that once I log out, I don't have to worry about wiping my history, just like Snapchat. It stays up there for a day, unless you save it to your memories, and it's gone. That's what they think. Once you post everything online, it's somewhere forever. It's gonna be on Snapchat servers, and somebody who's a really good hacker can probably get in there, find it, and then post it. Another thing teens don't realize, when they post something, it's very easy to take a screenshot, and then somebody else could post that, and that's kind of goes into cyberbullying. Any questions on any of these? So there's Tinder. You asked about the social, the dating apps. It's going up with the youth. So what does this all mean? Well, teens and adults are spending a lot of time interacting and communicating on social media. The social media application popularity is volatile. Something that's popular today can be not so popular tomorrow. Almost as volatile as cryptocurrency. We do value how others respond to what content we share. It's so important to get some kind of comment or a like or feedback on it. So I have this little comic. The lady on the left saying, "Bummer, my Facebook post didn't get any likes." Person on the right says, "Please tell me your sense of self-worth doesn't depend on how many likes you get. Do you really need a stupid number on stupid social network to feel good about yourself? I guess not. Good. I'd hate to live that way. OMG, I posted my rant about like buttons up on my wall and it's going viral. I'm amazing." So total hypocrisy in that woman on the right. You don't think about how much it means to you until you get that jackpot. It's all based on that variable ratio. You post something, you get 1,000 likes, 100,000 likes, 20,000 shares, great comments. With the comments, it takes about one negative comment to counteract 10 to 17 positive ones. And if you're dealing with somebody who has like body dysmorphic disorder or bulimia, eating disorders, you'll see them looking for that negative. So if you already have something negative you feel about yourself, once somebody posts that, a mean little comment, you're gonna latch onto that, despite the 1,000 comments of, "Oh, you look great, and you're fantastic, and this and that," all these positive good things. That one negative one, that's one you're posting to look for. Not on purpose, but you do it, an adolescent, an adult, whoever it is, posting. And once it's confirmed, your negative self-worth, that's what happens. It's confirmed. The world says that they all agree. And then it's blown out of proportion. So you can see how easily it is for people to cyberbully, even if they don't mean to. It could be a parent says, "Oh, you shouldn't be posting that. You look a little fat on the side." And "Oh, thanks, Mom. Now I feel like crap." All right, so top iPhone mobile games in the United States as of November 2017 ranked daily revenue. Daily revenue. So the top one was Candy Crush Saga, bringing in $2.1 million a day. Clash of Clans, which was owned by Supercell, now owned by Tencent, which is like the juggernaut of China that owns a lot of these games, which we'll get more to them in a minute. They were at 1.6 million. Clash Royale, which I believe is another similar game, 1.2 million.
That's all advertising, right?
Yes and no. $724,000 a day also on the Candy Crush Soda Saga. So they have those
Oh,
two
wow.
games. So they're bringing in over, closer to $3 million a day.
Level 500.
Advertisements, yes,
My
but
mom is.
in-store or in-game purchases.
Still.
Because the in-game purchases give you that little edge over the next person. Or let's say you don't want to wait to play again, because a lot of the games might have, you have to wait for your energy to fill up before you can play again. But if you spend $5, you can go now.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people will pay for that.
Guilty. I've done it.
So
I'm
nearly
like,
three.
I am 571 on my level on Candy Crush.
Have you
So,
heard of
yeah.
the new game? It's like a different type of game, but it kind of goes. It blends this and like online gambling. It's called HQ. So there's this new app on your phone, and it doesn't cost anything to play. I'm sure they're getting money from sponsors or whatever. And it literally alerts you every day at noon and every day at 6 p.m. And it's a trivia game, and they have like. There's like hundreds of thousands of people across the U.S. and it shows you how many people are playing at the same time. And it's 12 trivia questions, and you could win real money. So like every the
Do you have
big
to buy in with real money though?
no, you don't buy in with anything,
But
but
it's with
people
ads.
win like thousands of dollars on it, or you win $7. It's like however many people win split the jackpot. But it's become this extremely addicting thing that everyone. I mean, I was at Thanksgiving dinner and everyone got their phone out at 6 p.m. and they played together at the table. Like it reads the questions out loud and you can all pick an answer.
Yeah.
But it literally sends alerts to your phone like it's time to play. Get your phone out.
Yeah.
And it's
And you
become
can turn
socially
those
acceptable to
notifications
do
off.
so.
On apps,
Right.
all of these notifications can all be turned off, and then you can go on your own free will and accord when you want to. Most people don't know they can turn the notifications off, and if you can't, maybe you shouldn't be on that game. That one sounds very tricky.
And it's really big with adults. Like I mean, because they're hard
How do
questions.
they get paid? How do they pay out? How do they get the
Sponsors,
money?
They have sponsors, I think, now where
Commercials.
so there's a host of the game
Yeah.
who reads the questions, and I think that those could be like a TV talk show host one day or something like that.
A
So
lot of
it's
those
advertising.
apps, they might start out not charging anything, and then they'll introduce an advertisement later on, and they'll do target marketing to get more money and more people will buy into it. Snapchat does it now. Like they didn't have anything before, and now they have the ads that they'll put in there, so they're making a lot of money once they get their users up and they make the profit. So a little brief history on MMORPGs, and I promise it's all relevant to smartphones. So MMORPG, they came from MMOs, massively multiplayer online. They started in 1986, and it was with a game called Air Warrior. The term massively multiplayer online role-playing game was coined by Richard Garriott, and he's the one who created Ultima Online, which became very successful at the era that it was made. It was in 1997. So international awareness was brought to these games with approximately 4 million users playing Lineage in Asia, so like Korea and Taiwan, I think also Japan may have been there, and around 1998, and about 500,000 users playing EverQuest. Now those numbers for the video game industry seem pretty big, but they get bigger. So the world was then taken by storm by Blizzard Entertainment's release of World of Warcraft. I think everybody's probably familiar with at least the name of the game. They doubled their expected yearly sales. The whole amount they're going to do for the whole annual, they were expecting about 300,000 in a whole year. They got 600,000 units sold in the first 6 weeks.
Whoa.
Now, an estimate actually had to just change, as I checked yesterday. About 5 million players are playing this game worldwide. It was fluctuating around 10 million for a long time, and it peaked, I think, around 20 million. Could have been more, I'm not sure. It goes up and down, depends who you ask. But they did advertise that they've had over 100 million players come through their game. So at least 100 million accounts were created. And this was back in 2014. And then as of 2016, League of Legends, which is an MBO, or Massive Battle Arena, no, MOBA, Massively Online Battle Arena, there you go, MOBA. They had over 100 million players monthly. And now, brand spanking new, came out last month. I had to keep changing this too because it wasn't released yet. They delayed the release in the US, but now it's here. So, I'm going to read the quote. Launched in 2015, Honor of Kings is a multiplayer online battle game similar to League of Legends. Keep in mind, 100 million people playing that monthly. but for mobile phones. About 55 million are playing in Hong Kong daily in China. Sorry, not Hong Kong. Honor of Kings daily in China, making it the world's top grossing mobile game. And the first 3 quarters of 2017. So I haven't looked at what the last quarter was, but I'm sure it was up there. Now Chinese tech giant Tencent, which also owns League of Legends, is preparing to bring its smash hit to the US and Western Europe according to recent reports from Bloomberg and Reuters. And it did bring it. It also brought it to Europe. So they changed the name. It's no longer called Honor of Kings. It's called Arena of Valor. And it was released in August of 2017 in Europe and last month in the US. Over 200 million users with 80 million playing daily.
Jeez.
So those numbers from World of Warcraft aren't so big anymore, with 80 million people playing this game a day. And I want to give you a little, I don't think I'm on the Wi-Fi. You know, we'll skip it. You can look it up later. I'll save some time anyway. But you can look up Arena of Valor, and you can see what kind of game it is. Basically, you have some heroes. You control one character, and there's maybe 5 people on your team, or 4 people on your team. There's another team over there. And then typically send off like little peon soldiers, or I'm not sure if they have it in this game, but you kind of charge at each other and you fight, and you try to capture the flag or push each other back or however it is. So it's like a mini war type thing. And you laugh, but it's a huge grossing game.
Crazy.
Alright, so amazing. There's an M there. Motivators for playing. Why do people play these games? Well, there's 4 basic motivations for playing these games. Curiosity, astonishment, and interest. Well, if you saw this kind of world, you'd be like, that's pretty interesting. I'd like to go there. Cognitive stimulation. You have a lot of cognitive stimulation. You have the sounds, the graphics, I know somebody who does like the music for these games. It's huge. You know, full orchestra music. The sights, everything. Enjoyment of a different lifestyle in a virtual environment. And here I have to segue to a game called Second Life, where people do just that. They create a second life, they live virtually, and they use a currency called Linden dollars, based on, that's Linden, or the family that found it. And people can actually make legitimate money in this game, because you can then transfer that Linden dollars, I believe, for US dollars. And it'd be interesting to see how cryptocurrency might play into that. So people can buy and sell real estate on there, they have professions, there's probably psychologists and other therapists on there offering therapy, but you can have this lifestyle that you can't have here, but you can have it there. I played it for like a couple days just to see what it was like, and I came across this like real estate agent, and like you're working a job here, you're actually doing real estate sales, but it's virtual real estate. Is this the life that you want to have? You're still working. Is that, because you can go do this in the real world too. So it's really interesting. People would do that. And then recreational refreshment. So just to get away from your everyday life. Yeah.
So in those 4,
Yes.
would number 3 be kind of the looking to fulfill that group identity or feeling like they're part of something? Is that what it is? Like feeling like they're on a team,
That could be part
that
of it.
they're
Yeah.
not lonely, that
Yeah.
sort of thing? Okay.
Yes.
Is there any information or research or anything about the time during a day that these people are spending doing this? Because are they not, I have a nephew, he's in his 20s, and he works, but I know when he gets off work, he's in his dark cage room, playing video games or doing whatever he's doing, whatever, I don't know which games he plays, but. So I'm just wondering, are people sitting at home all day, like in this virtual world doing this?
Wow.
Yeah, and you have adults doing that too.
Yeah.
I mean, Asia has had numerous reported deaths from people playing online too long. That they just neglect their bodily needs. And they can develop a blood clot in their knee from being stationary, it travels to their heart, and they have a heart attack and die. I saw a video of one guy, he just died in a cafe, internet cafe. And just sitting in the chair like this, and he was gone. So, yeah, it's on that level, it can be very dangerous. Those are the extreme cases. In the US, we've had cases of neglect, where parents aren't taking care of their children. because they're too immersed in the games. They have a lot of strong hooks.
Any research of like, is it stimulating the dopamine neurotransmitters?
yeah.
Big time.
Huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, every time you get a level up, every time you get that.
Cool.
So it's like 2 slides away.
Sorry.
No, that's good. So why do people become involved in the gameplay? So we kind of covered this a lot. One is to gain control of their environment. A lot of times people don't have power in their lives. They don't have control over anything. So this, especially kids don't have control over anything in their life. They can't make they feel they don't have any decision-making abilities. They are told, go to school, come home, do your homework, time to go to soccer practice, do this, do that, practice your violin, whatever it is, go to sleep, wake up, start over. So this gives them an opportunity, like, I can control this person, I can send them on this quest, I can send them over there, I can manipulate this, if it's Minecraft, I can build a house, I can do these things where I see growth a lot faster. They don't see that playing 6 years of violin is going to make them really good at it. They just see, that again. So it's hard for them. This is so much more instant. In the younger generation, it's all instant gratification, and this is just feeding. Vicariously experience something that could only previously be imagined or observed. And that's when you have these amazing graphics in these games, and this far-off world, and complete fantasy. And I have to make a plug for Ready Player One. If you guys have read that book, it's amazing. I love it. It's a fiction novel based on where the video game industry is going. So basically headsets, they map your eyes, it looks the same, if not better than real life. And in the book and movie that comes out next month, they wear like haptic suits, so they can feel everything that they feel in the game. You can probably even get like the smells. So you just kind of stationary in this chair, feeling like you're doing all this stuff, but you're not really moving much. They do have real world virtual reality where you can actually stand in this like little circle and you can move around. And that's a little more engaging. I love Xbox Connect because you get up, you move around, you do something like you're dancing or you're doing obstacle courses, or even if you're a a Jedi Master, you're still going to be moving around whatever you're doing. So it engages some physical component. But these still give you that escape into a fantasy world where you can experience these things. And it's not all negative. I know a lot of it sounds negative. If you're doing this for a half hour or 20 minutes just to get an escape, what if you do have somebody who's in a house who they're getting abused during the day and they don't have anywhere they can go, no safe haven, and it's just constant either verbal or physical abuse, and this gives them a little window into not being in pain. So in that, it can be a positive. So there's a lot of positives here. I highlighted negatives because I think we tend to do that a lot, but it is worthwhile to mention some of the positives. There's a lot of competitive components to these games, especially when you get PvP or player versus player. That's when different players can harm each other and try to one-up in this huge competition. I think either Call of Duty, it's Call of Duty, where the big ranking system. So if you don't play for a while, your ranking will drop once you start playing again. So you have to keep constant to keep your ranking up there. And then you can safely explore these fantasy relationships. So we're talking about the relationships earlier. You can go and test the waters socially with people. And if they say something you don't like, or you say something that embarrasses you because you don't have a filter or whatever it may be, you can just click and log off. Okay, bye. Or you just block them. You never have to talk to them again. A lot easier to do that in the game than it is to do in real life if you have a classmate who you're going to see every day. Same with romantic relationships. So there's different types of play. There's helping, cooperating, and hostility. Helping is the supportive roles where you're going to be, at least in these types of games, you'll be like a healer or something along those lines, which probably all of us might want to do because that's what we are. We're healers. You have the cooperating of being with the team. So that's kind of research to talk about. You get this team involvement. You can join a guild or a faction or a group or a club, whatever it is online. But then there's also the hostility, which could be good. You're working together to beat a common enemy, or you're working against other groups of like-minded people. So there's pluses and negatives there. Social relations. So when people are spending all this time strengthening their online relationships and their community online, gamers will have their ties to the real-life relationships dwindle. They're going to go down, they're going to deteriorate. They're not fostering their real friendships. Sometimes, oftentimes you'll have gamers playing with their friends in real life. But now they've moved this real life, legitimate, wholesome relationship to an online platform, and they'll say they're spending time with their friends, but what are they talking about? How are they communicating? It's all game related. It's not, what's going on, hey, how are things with your new girlfriend, or, hey, you want to go get some ice cream later. It's nothing substantial. It's all focused on the game. Maybe not all, but majority of it could be. And some of the research found a negative correlation between how much time they're spending engaging in their internet chat and the amount of real life friends that they have. So it makes sense. If you're spending a lot of time talking with people online, then you're not going to be spending time talking to people offline. This graph, you probably can't see the little thing, that's not an actual, and that's not the actual curvature of the line, it's just a rough guess, just to highlight. Representation of concept, not actual data. Same with this one. So problematic internet use, people who are psychologically sound, but still have difficulty relating to others socially are equally prone to higher rates of problematic internet use. And then some of the interpersonal difficulties they might exhibit are loneliness, social anxiety, low social skills, and introversion. So one of the things about this generation is they are the safest generation in a long time. They're not doing drugs as much, they're not drinking, they're staying indoors, safe. They're also the highest risk for suicide and depression and the loneliness. So they don't have many friends to talk to. Because they don't have any friends to talk to, they're feeling lonely. Because they're feeling lonely and isolated and depressed, they're starting to feel suicidal. So they're the most at risk for that. And it's very quiet. You're not having those loud, help me expressions because it's all online. And that's why it's important to regulate young people's social media. Their fake accounts and the real ones. So, answering your question, the reward system. Completion of quests and gaining experience. Every time you build up enough, you get this orgasm in the virtual world, which is called leveling up. You get this, I leveled up. Everybody around you hears this, like a trumpet sound and the light explosion, and you're like, woohoo, I leveled up, I'm one level stronger. So you got the colors, the light, the sounds. It's really, really reinforcing. I mean, this is lighting up your dopamine levels, your nucleus accumbens. It's like, yeah, give me more, give me more. So you give them more, you play more, you get to that next level up. And the first 10 levels are like that. You get them real quick in a lot of these games. Then it's a little bit longer. So yeah, we're kind of teaching delayed gratification, but at what cost? And then the process of becoming more powerful. I'm strong, and watch out for me. Because a lot of people that get hooked in this don't have that power in real life. So some risk factors for people that get into this is decline in quality of friendships, relationships, and family, loved ones, school, performance, and relationships. So anything that could be going down, if you start to see a little negative spiral or downward spiral, that's a risk factor for them escaping and engaging in this. Decline in physical health. If you start to see somebody not showering as often, or not making that a priority, not exercising, not eating right, that might be because they're sitting stationary, they're eating Cheetos instead of apples, and they're not going to the bathroom as much, whatever it may be. Affected mood, so I mentioned high rates of depression. One I want to highlight here is increased anxiety, and that could be with smartphones. Like I said earlier, that constant wondering, am I going to get a comment on this? Am I going to get this feedback that I want? Is it going to happen? It may or may not. So the constant state of wondering, what if, or what will happen, the unknown. The increased feelings of loneliness I mentioned. Increased rates of ADHD. Yes, it is related. There are studies that correlate increased rates of ADHD with internet use. Because there's so much immediate gratification, there's so much stimulation that you're always looking for it, and if you're not getting it, then you're going to be looking for it somewhere else. So we're building these brains up to be constantly searching for this stuff. And if they're not getting it, then it's really affecting them. Because they get it online, you have the endless stream. You can keep looking. How many of you have probably seen teenagers or anybody sitting with a smartphone while watching TV and typing a paper? Yeah. Increased rates of suicidality as well. So, how can we identify what is internet addiction? So, it was on the chopping block a little bit for the DSM-5, and it's important to note that with internet addiction, that's not really the main problem. I was reading the definition for alcohol use. I think for alcoholism, that diagnosis applies to internet addiction, but you just change the words around a little bit. So consult your local DSM. Salience, that's when the activity becomes the most important part of their life. Mood change or euphoria, that's how the person will feel and experience the activity through ongoing involvement. Tolerance, we know tolerance. So when the user requires progressive lengths of time of involvement. So it didn't quite do it like it used to, and that's why they're gonna make you work harder for that next level because, oh, this is too easy. If you level up to 100 the same way you leveled up to 10, just boom, 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 the game would be too easy, you'd be done with it, you'd be on to the next game. Same with social media. If you're getting the same, like, a million great feedback every time, then like, oh, what is this? This is, if you don't have to work a little bit for it, you get a little more, it's stronger. Withdrawal, huge information. So withdrawal, another article by Mark Griffiths. He's like the most published person in the field right now. When there is some perceived detriment when the full or desired internet use is not met. This looks in your brain the same as heroin addiction. Just because you're not using a substance does not mean your brain's not affected. When you're taking this constant increase in dopamine away, your brain is affected. So you will see the similar symptoms. Conflict. So intra or interpersonal conflict can be caused by continual application of the activity. And relapse. We all know relapse. The act of re-engaging the addictive behavior after demonstrating control over it. So you gotta watch out for those triggers. Here's what I mentioned, the finding social media site for dating. So game addicts can spend 10, 15, or even 20 hours online per gaming session. Not a week, per session. So, hey, it's summer vacation, I've got nothing to do. I'm gonna binge play this game. I'm gonna binge on Netflix. I'm gonna binge on this. We see it easily in eating disorders. You don't see it as easily in internet addiction disorders because it's almost normal. You see that everybody's on their phone all the time. They're watching, they're just watching TV. They're just watching TV. But if they're binging and they're not sleeping and they're not going to the bathroom, because Netflix only gives you like 10 seconds before they start the next episode. That's not enough time for a bathroom trip, and you're always left at a cliffhanger. I read really good advice on Netflix to avoid the binge. Watch the first 5 minutes of the next episode, then stop. Then you're past the cliffhanger, and you can move on with life.
I didn't do that.
Typically, they're less productive in real life. Obviously, they're spending more time online. Not dating or spending as much time with loved ones and friends. So, they did make a little search result. 11 best gamer dating sites. 100% free trial. So you'll find that loved one of your life because you don't have time because you're online. So I thought that was hilarious to see that even existed. And they're not attending social events. So let's see, you can either go to this guy's party, or you can go to this dungeon raid tonight with your guildmates, which you're required to do to stay in the guild, and if you don't, you're kicked out. Easy decision for them to make. People are not getting as much fresh air or sufficient exercise because they're stuck inside. Maybe you'll have that one game that actually opens the window. But if you think about walking into the cave, as you mentioned, and it's probably just really stuffy, and the computer's been going, and the food's been rotting, and they may or may not have peed themselves, it's not going to smell good.
Wow.
Not taking care of their homes or doing chores. So it's really important for parents to stay on top of this if they have chores to do, that this is taken away. For my kids, that's the first thing that goes, is they lose their screen time. It's recommended that kids under the age of 3 get 0 screen time. 0. So if you guys went to Dr. Wu's Danger of Technology Overuse presentation last year, he showed a picture of the iPotty. I should probably incorporate in that. It's basically where you put your tablet on a potty and they can watch their tablet while they're going by, but they're not recognizing their bodily needs. It's horrible. If you ever hear anybody mention the iPotty, say burn it, throw it away, get rid of it. But yeah, kids under 3 should not use screens at all.
Does that include television?
Good
Maybe.
question. I didn't learn about this research until after my kids were past 3. And I would say that television, as long as it's an educational something, it's fine. Usually it's good for the music in the background, or the sounds or whatever, but I wouldn't put them in front of it for long. No more
Yeah,
than
I have
an
a friend
hour.
that's a psych nurse, and she doesn't let her kids have TV at all. And
Yeah.
they're like 1 and 4.
Yeah, I limit
Yeah.
my kids, or try to, I'm human, I don't always do this, especially if they're gonna watch a movie, but I limit them to 1 hour a day when they haven't lost it from other stuff. But it's always the first thing to go, because I don't want them watching it.
Mm.
I thought that was a little strict. I'm like, no TV at all? She goes, nothing.
They're not missing
They have
anything.
playtime, they have reading time, they have outside
they're
time.
not missing anything. You
Yeah.
can, a lot of people say like on the tablet, especially in schools, they'll assign homework on tablets or the different learning apps. That yeah, you can learn from them, but you can probably learn that somewhere else too. So just find out whatever it is. Like you're gonna learn math, well we can do math, paper pencil. You don't need to do it on an app. Like okay, yeah, it's trying to meet the kids where they are. But if your kids are never there, then they don't have to do it that way.
It's funny because with this particular friend, she wanted me to watch her kids. I go, not if I can't watch TV. Forget it. I'm not doing it.
Yeah, and it's easy for caregivers to just like, okay, I need to sit them down for a minute while I go and do this, or 10
Yeah.
minutes, or an hour while I do this, you know. And my parents called me Mr. TV growing up. I would come home from preschool and sit on an armchair and curl up in there and put myself on a nap with the TV on. Like I would watch a whole bunch of TV. So I think I turned out okay. But I was also diagnosed ADD when I was growing up. I think I've grown out of it a lot. Now it's like professionally, I had it for a while, going 7 careers at once. But within being able to focus on something, I can do a lot better now. But when I was younger, it was harder. So having that constant stimulation, it's difficult for the kids. Let's see, so performing less at work or on homework. You know, if they're online, they're not doing the homework. So it's really important to get those things done first.
You have like 10 minutes. You good? Time. On time.
Let me skip ahead. Well, this is something guys. Oh yeah, I'll go fast. All right, the quality and length of interaction they tend to suffer, and they'll be easily distracted because they're always looking for that next thing that's going to excite them. One thing I need to highlight is the family influence. This is really important because this is where we can make a change. So poor family functioning correlates with adolescent internet addiction. The worse the functioning of the family, the more they're likely to escape. So there was a study by Yen and colleagues that found a higher parent-child conflict the higher the parent-child conflict was, and the siblings' chronic use of alcohol. I should let you guys read that. Perceived parents' positive attitude towards adolescent substance abuse and overall lower family functioning could be used in a predictive model for internet addiction treatment or internet addiction. So if you have all these things going on in the home, they're a lot more likely to escape, as I mentioned, to internet addiction. It's just, I think a lot of kids that have these homes, they need some escape, and this is just the easiest one. So addressing, okay, well, when they, they're on their, tablet all the time, but what happens right before that? Are you guys fighting? Are you yelling at them? You have to address the whole family system, not just the child.
It's crazy because it is the most, it's like the easiest way, like you said, it's the easiest thing them to go to, but it's also the most like socially acceptable. Like it's an escape mechanism that they can use that is in our society normalized.
Yeah.
First, they're not like turning to alcohol or drugs or anything like that. Like that's not okay, but going on the internet and doing all of this stuff is normal, and in fact it's highlighted in our media.
Definitely. So how can we help them? Well, one is more efficient parent-child relations. doing things non-tech based. We were talking earlier before this about screenagers. They talk about the Tech Talk Tuesday, where the family can have an open forum to discuss tech use and what they're doing on their tech. It's best to let the kids know, if you're on your phone, if the adult's on their phone, what are they doing? Like, oh, I'm looking at my emails to see if anything came from work. Instead of just letting them guess, or oh, you're playing that game. Or you're playing a game, like, I'm playing a game because I'm tired of you and I need to escape. Or whatever it may be. Introduce problem-resolving techniques and encourage better communication between family members. Sometimes these kids don't know how to communicate because their parents don't communicate to them. They need to learn these in the home, how to properly have a conversation with loved ones and peers. So, as I mentioned, this will be done with Tech Talk Tuesday, a time for family to gather and discuss their tech use for an hour without any tech. It can be done over dinner. A good thing for families to start with is no smartphone, no electronics or no tech at dinner. Just focus on your food and each other and actually talk with one another. A lot harder to do with adolescents. Monitor the user's activity by as many people as possible. Talk with their friends, talk with their teachers, talk with their friends' parents. Everybody's in their life. See what they're doing when they're at their friend's house. I had a client who we thought, he didn't have any access to tech because it was all taken away, but found out he had a secret cell phone and he had access to all this other stuff. And if he didn't, he would, damage property to get to it if need be. So it's really important to talk with them about it, give them a forum for expressing how much they want to engage, so that you're not getting that secret behavior. And then have to find hours for them to log in. I think, for somebody to expect a teenager to not have a cell phone is a bit much. Or you can get them, if you want to be mean, you can get them a non-smartphone, a cell phone that doesn't have all the features. Just, the texting where you have to press 4 buttons to get the letter you want.
They still make those?
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, they do.
Buy an old one. So that's one way of doing it. And techniques will vary from person to person, and different mental health professionals will have their own interventions that could be good.
Is there a book or some of the resource that you might recommend that has some more tips like this?
Yeah, I recommend Common Sense Media. They're really good on. They have a whole bunch of stuff on this. Alright, I'm gonna skip that little video for 2 reasons. We don't have time and I don't have internet. Ironically. So I have a little video online. It's 9 tips to reduce your time online. It's a cute video if you want to check it out. But here's broken down some of my personal tips. I think this actually might be in the flyers. Make sure you grab one of the, at least one of the flyers, take as many as you want on internet addiction. Find ways to interact with loved ones without tech. Read a tangible book, not an ebook, not a Kindle, tangible. You got to turn the actual page, that kind of book. Explore nature. Take families out on go outside. And we're in Southern California here, so why do we not go outside? Today it's cold. But most for us, yeah, you come from the East Coast right now, they'll be in shorts and having a field day. But most of the time we have great weather to go outside and do outside activities. So go and soak up some sun. Vitamin D, very good for you. It's also good for your mental health. Learn something new. This can be done individually, as a family. Sign kids up for classes, keep them engaged. The more activities people have to go to, adults and kids alike, the less less time they'll have to be online. So go take an art class, go learn how to go Splunk or whatever it may be. Meditate. A lot of people that meditate live by it. And it could just be 10 minutes, 5 minutes, something. Just reset your mind. It's a really good way to start the day too. Set and work towards achievable goals. Let's not try to graduate college in a day. We just have to focus on, alright, we have to learn, for the paper to do next week. Okay, so let's do an outline for that today. That's achievable. I do a lot in my groups. I have accountability goals. Something that you can achieve this week, between now and the next time we meet, that you will do. You're not going to become this wonderful person you're trying to be in 1 week. You have to take the steps to getting there. Tracking your time online, very helpful. I use an app called Quality Time on my smartphone. It's for Android. there is one, I always forget the name for iPhones, but just type in time tracker or smartphone tracker, and you'll find something. I highly recommend it because they give you the notifications, how many times I've unlocked my screen, which means checked my phone, how many hours I've spent on it, not minutes, but hours. And being aware is being mindful, and with that you can then decrease the time. And then engage in sports or other outdoor activities. For adolescents, this is huge. Getting them involved in a team sport is really good for their, relationship and camaraderie. Let them interact with people on a task. 10 signs of recovery. We'll go through real quick. So Kimberly Young, she's the godmother of internet addiction. She literally wrote the book and another one after that, and she's really well published. She wrote this one. She wrote a book called Internet Addiction as well. And in this book, she talks about the recovery and how you can see that change is being made. So one is sticking to the scheduled hours of internet use. So you set up this how long you're going to use it, and you're actually doing it. Acknowledging when parents or partners or other loved ones say that they see a change on the internet habits and behavior. So letting that person know that you're seeing improvement, giving them that feedback, because that's what they're getting from the game, or the social media app, or whatever it is they're doing online. They're getting feedback, usually positive feedback, to encourage them to do it more. So we can do that in real life. Oh, I noticed that you were really engaged in the conversation today. You were looking at us and participating, and it was really nice to have you as a member of the family for a day, and not sitting at your smartphone. Monitor spending of online related fees. So if you are spending money online, watching that, maybe set a budget for yourself. I'm only going to spend $50 this month. Next month I'll do 40, 30, so on. Performance of work tasks, school assignments, or household chores is completed in a timely fashion and resembles how they were done prior to the addiction. So that's if there was a prior to the addiction that you can relate to. Sometimes that might not be possible. But more likely, if you can get to the point where you want it to be, and what's expected. Rediscover favorite hobbies and activities. So what did you like to do before the internet era? Unfortunately, we have the I generation, which they're born into this era. They didn't have it before. So it's important to share our experiences of, like I said, the prehistoric days before that iPhone existed. What did we do for fun? And letting those kids live, be exposed to different ways that they can spend their time not online. Expend more energy communicating with people in real life than strangers over the internet. Why do you want to put all this effort into this perfect picture, which is doctored? If you guys are familiar with it, people will take these pictures for Snapchat or Instagram, whatever it is, and they'll put on Facetune, which is another app, make themselves all pretty, make their teeth whiter, get rid of some wrinkles, and show off the best version of their fake self they can to get the best feedback. So, fake feedback for a fake self makes you feel good. But you can also be spending time with real people in real life and letting them see the real you. And that actually is a lot more rewarding. Because people realize that, oh, they like hanging out with me, for me, not these nice comments. View others with internet addiction in a different light, with an understanding of the problems they have created and are going through in their lives. A lot of people that get stuck or hooked into internet addiction related activities, they didn't want to. Just like somebody who drinks alcohol, grows in that behavioral pattern. They don't take that first drink like, I'm gonna become an alcoholic glug. No, it doesn't work like that. It's usually a progression. And these games and these apps and these Netflixes and everything, they're all designed now, purposely designed to make you become addicted. So that you're staring at them and not clicking on Hulu. So recognizing that with other people, saying, oh, all your friends are in this hook. It's like the book The Giver, if you guys are familiar with that one, where like that once you can take a step out and see how the world really is, the color of the world instead of the black and white that's in front of you, and then trying to get your buddies and your friends out instead of going back in with them for the sake of being with them, taking with you. Feeling less trapped and tempted to resume habits when on the internet. feeling greater desire to go out with loved ones and friends, turning down fewer invitations. So we're not going for the miracle that you go to everything, because that's not reasonable, but go to something. And when you start saying yes, you get more invitations. You keep saying no, you're going to be burning bridges. So sometimes initiating something too. Hey, why don't you call your friends up and see if they want to come over and go swimming today? And then look back on the addiction to see a different person from a different time. So recognizing your progress. Here's some recommended readings that I have read and think they're just fantastic. Irresistible. If you like today's topic and conversation, read this book. It's got more of it. When I was listening, because I listen to audiobooks, when I was listening to this, it was like everything I knew and would say and more. Like if I was gonna write a book, it would be very similar to that one. So I'm screwed on that aspect, I guess. Caught in the Net, the one I just showed by Kimberly Young. She also has one called Internet Addiction, which is good. Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. That one's a novel, like I mentioned, and the movie's coming out next month. So very good time to pick that one up.
Yeah.
Really good for adolescents to read this book and talk about it.
Ready Player One.
If they still read.
Or listen to it. But yeah, The Craving Mind, Raising Human Beings, and The Organized Mind. All very, very good books. All of these books I actually listen to on Overdrive, which is an app on my phone. You can get it for free from the public library, which means that all these books I listen to for free on my phone.
I
So,
downloaded it.
yes.
We talked about it, yeah.
Yeah, if you're driving around, I know some of you guys are going a lot of different places to network and market. They're very good. It's a very good app to have because you can listen to music or you can listen to a book. I like listening to a book and I like to
Is that
alternate.
the one guy I told you about? Is it Audible? No.
Audible is different. That's a monthly
Yeah.
subscription. You get one book, you get to keep it forever. Versus Overdrive, which is the app that the library uses. So if you punch in your library card, it's all free. And you get it for about 21 days.
I meant to send you that book though too.
Alright, and last two things. First is I have a group I'm starting March 9th for teens on navigating the balance of tech use. It's going to be on Fridays at 3:40 in Westlake. And well, man, you guys have my info. It's all here and there. And then I'm also going to be running one right after it for the parents. Because they need it just as much, if not more, than the teens. I did drop the age of the teens. I was going to do 13 to 17. I dropped it down to 11 to 17 because I had some interest and parents that were like, I want my 11-year-old in. I'm like, they're not old enough, but now I'm going to open it up to them because I think it's really important.
But now they are.
Now they are, yeah.
Do you have, not to, I mean, making everything more digital, do you have an internet like flyer for this, or sorry,
I have an
Yeah.
e-flyer.
an e-flyer? Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what this is. I can
Yeah.
send it to you guys.
Like,
And then
Potentially.
if you want any, I can also, I mean, if you guys want to, you can't see it there, but it's all, my dissertation's online. These are a lot of references just from it, where I got a lot of my information. It's a whole bunch of stuff, but I simplified none of the recommended readings are in there. But yeah,
Good
questions?
job. Yeah. Interesting. Well, I work with a lady, Dr. Elaine Brady, in San Jose, and she is the only person I know that works with, that actually has mastered the art of working with young adults with gaming addiction. So, and she also does sex addiction. So she says it kind of goes hand in
Yeah,
hand.
they're all very similar.
So, now I know you over here, so that's
Yeah.
great.
And you gotta think about that. This is the thing about, I don't know, I guess a weed. That you're seeing the weed and you want to pull the weed, you want to address that problem, but it's really the roots underneath, and that's what we want to get to. And that's all psychotherapy. So it's just a different avenue that they're using to cover up that problem. The main problem with this stuff is it's so addictive that it's normalized too. So it's really hard. It's like just a rapid growing weed. So you spend so much energy getting at that weed that maybe you're not getting to what's underneath of why they can't do other behaviors. Maybe there isn't much wrong. Sometimes people just go in this because they went for recreation, but it is fulfilling some need. At some level, it's going to be fulfilling some need.
So funny because you said how the Netflix, how it's 10 seconds before it goes into the next one.
Yeah.
I'm like totally speed dating with Grey's Anatomy right now, so I cannot stop it at the end. I have to wait till the next one. It goes to the credits and then I stop.
Yeah.
just like you said.
Yep.
That's exactly what, I'm like, oh, okay, this is the storyline, I can stop now and pick
Yeah, I
up.
forgot where I heard that, but it was really good. I think it was actually one of those
That's
books.
exactly what I do,
Yeah.
so funny.
It's so hard.
Are there,
Yes, Jen.
There was a couple things. Sometimes I start to feel irrelevant because I'm not on any social media. And I don't know even I don't even know those games.
Mm-hmm.
I have kids are in their 20s and they were, they did a couple little things, but they weren't really hooked on much.
Yeah.
But after hearing you, and I do work with adolescents and young adults, I'm realizing I don't really need to have been exposed to those things to help them because it's
Right.
just any other addiction.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering if there's ever been any lawsuits, because of the addictive quality to these games, and they're out there to hook people, and people are actually dying in front of them.
Mm-hmm.
Has there ever, and just out of
That I don't know.
curiosity,
I don't know what
does
the
that
legal
mean-
aspects of it.
Yeah, I was just curious because I know people tried to.
I know that there's been lawsuits and like this ongoing debate about video games and violence in video games causing people to become more violent.
I do know one.
And like violence in the media and things like that. So I'm sure there's been a lot of lawsuits like that.
There was one, I forget the word, like Tappy or Flappy or something bird. I think it was the precursor to Angry Birds.
Oh.
And it was so addictive that it really, I think the creator took it down
Oh wow.
because he realized he created this problem for all his friends. And yeah,
It's a
because of that.
huge
I
problem.
don't know if there was a lawsuit on that one, there may have been,
Right.
but he definitely, they pulled that game down because it was too addictive.
What was
is anybody,
Flappy Bird.
are any people going into treatment just for this, like
Yes.
as they are?
Yeah, there's Restart Recovery in Washington,
Okay.
the city of Washington, or the state of Washington. It's like near Seattle, just outside, I believe. That's the main one that's a residential treatment facility for this. There's also some in Ohio.
And is insurance
East Coast.
covering?
Yes.
Are there giving days for this?
Yes.
Huh.
Yeah. I do hope to bring one to Southern California. I'm working on it.
Is it under the mental health?
Uh,
Do you know, or is it under, I can't imagine it's under substance use.
no,
Right, so
it's
it'd
a
be mental
behavioral
health.
addiction, not a,
So
not
yeah,
a
primary mental health
Yeah.
diagnosis, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Sierra Tucson tried to do something like way back when I was there, like 2004-ish.
Yeah.
But insurance would never pay. They had to have some other primary addiction
Mhm.
to cope that
And there could be.
also.
There probably is something else
Sure.
making it, but we might see video game addiction at least in there. And it's on a spectrum, so it's severe, mild, moderate, severe. But like I said, I'm working on creating one for Southern California, doing a residential treatment facility. That's my goal.
That's awesome. Sure.
So we don't have to send our kids to Washington.
Is there any data regarding those who might struggle with internet addiction? To what extent do those individuals also struggle with some other addiction?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Are there,
Data on it?
yeah, are there?
I'm not sure. The one, like I mentioned his name a couple times, Mark Griffiths.
Okay.
He's at University of Trent, Nottingham, England. He's published, I don't know how he does it, he's publishing like daily now. He's posted like, I'm the most published person today.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate this so much because, I mean, in the sex addiction world, we definitely have our own numbers about that data. But what's missing is this. And so, this is, I think, much more subtle that, we tend to look at substances or other kinds of behavioral addictions first. This is, I think, more normalized and
Yes.
much more
Very much so.
socially accepted, and so it tends to go much deeper under the radar, I think, without greater awareness.
Yeah, and I think it's irrational to expect somebody to go abstinent from this. You can't. I mean, you're gonna have your smartphone.
Yeah.
So it's learning the balance. That's why I'm doing those groups, is teaching that balance.
Yeah.
Because with other things, you can. You can abstain from alcohol. You can abstain from heroin. It's much harder to abstain from the internet.
It's more like eating.
It's terrible.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
very much like eating disorders.
She needs to move on, like, right now.
And sex addiction,
It's crazy.
no need to do it in a good, healthy way. So there's a lot of positive. It does let you connect with people from college that you
Yeah.
never see because they're on the other side of the country.
Right.
You see the beautiful little kids and things like that.
Yeah. It sucks you right in.
And I catch myself on some of these, Facebook especially for me. Like, oh, I'm doing this streaming thing. Done.
I never do that.
I see you on Facebook.
Hey, I am
He already knew my post this morning.
Get an adult coloring book. That's
And
what
so
I
please help
have.
yourself to
denial.
please help yourself to any of my flyers there and to the
Thanks,
food.
Dustin, that was awesome.
Thank you
That was
so
great.
much.
Sandra, there's food tonight at that thing, right?
I don't know, I was just gonna text my friend and ask her.
Do you have my number? Can
I
you
don't know.
text Kara, tell her if there's food at
Yeah,
Kara can
I'll let her
text
know.
me.
If you
Am
find
I
out.
supposed to eat? Because,
I would still
and then
eat,
how are
and
we
then
supposed to
if
dress
you-
for that?
It's a little, I mean,
Substance use.
Is it kind of fancy
like when you're
schmancy?
wearing now,